There's more gangland activity, human trafficking issues, a lot of drug issues, corruption in law enforcement. When you have all of this, all of that dark presence opens the doors and helps welcome and perpetuate, dark powers, dark presence. So those are some of the indicators. Now, here's a way, outside of just looking at some of those indicators, beginning to pray and say, Lord, if there are satanic, ritually abused human beings in my city, and Jesus, you'll teach me how to minister to them, do deliverance, cast out demons, pray for healing to come into them and help them. Here, my Lord, send me. And I'm going to tell you this, I really believe that if you're going to step out and you're going to learn, you're going to read, and you're going to begin to pray that and say, Lord, help me find in my city any victims, I believe you will find them. I believe God will use you. I believe God is looking for people that he can really, really pour everything into, who's willing to go out there and be brave and fight for these individual victims, which means spiritually is the number one battle. Secondly, if you do go looking in this sense, if you contact any psych wards and counseling centers in your city and just simply call and say, hey, do you guys handle multiple personality disorder? And or have you ever heard of satanic ritual abuse? We have contacted almost every single major city in Pennsylvania and quite a few of the capital cities across the United States, and hundreds now of psych wards and counseling centers, and 98% is always yes. So you're going to find out that the victims have been in your city for years. They've been going to counselors. They've been going to try to figure out what to do. The psychologists and psychiatrists in the cities for the last 30 years, they know that these victims have been showing up. They're trying to treat them, but they're treating them with some drugs and in some cases, hypnotherapy and, how to cope and so forth. They can't deal with the spiritual side of it. You're going to find them. I guarantee that, anyone listening in any city in the United States, you're going to find the real victims of this real Luciferian network. You're going to find victims that have come out. Now, if you find one victim in your city, I'm going to say you're going to find there's going to be 4 generations of them. You're going to find those between 55 and 65, those between 35, 45, those between, I would say somewhere around 25, 26 to up as part of a second generation rather. And then you're going to go down to the teens into 25. So, there's the third generation. But in psych wards all across the United States, too, children's psych wards, you're going to find multiple personality in kids, and you can't have it without it being traumatic, sexual, harmful involvement. But many of them are realizing, hey, there's a satanic component. These kids are drawing satanic stuff. So you're going to find it. The issue is, what are you going to do when you find it? Because you're going to have to know how to cast out demons. You're going to have the armor of God to know your shielding. And, if you go to help some of the victims, covens are going to begin to maybe, hey, what are you doing with our person? They see it as their property. So they're going to start doing warfare against you. If you go after them, here's the fact. They're going to come after you a little bit. This warlock out there in the West, wherever he's done this from, obviously in his own video that he put up, doing cursings and ritual summoning of demons, Baron Samedi, he's calling on a voodoo demon god Loa to, could be sent after us. He did it in his own statement because we've been preaching the gospel and exposing dark side stuff and rituals and so forth. So he did it in response to what he must be listening to, or what there's a group behind this out there. So if you do go after it, you will find it. The good news is you'll get to see the glory of the Lord, the power of God, the authority of Jesus, his destruction of the demonic realm when you use your authority against them. You're going to see Jesus bring healing to lives. You're going to have to spend time and money, and I'll be very blatant. You're going to have to risk your life a little bit. If you want to save kids out of human trafficking, where you have people making millions, you're going to have drug lords and human trafficking pimp lords come after you and get angry at you for taking away their people. And if it's satanic ritual abuse and you're trying to draw these kids and you're trying to do deliverance and these adults, then the dark side's going to be mad. They're going to be mad. And So the choice is leave them in their bloody mess, and back away as a believer, hide among the rocks where God won't do anything for all the ones that are hiding, or become enraged in this sense, outraged in the sense like David when he really got sick of the Goliath on the field. Nobody else knew what to do. Well, the Spirit of God will help you. The Spirit of God will bring all kinds of help and guidance, and it has cost us over the years. It has cost us, over the years. But the overwhelming seeing of the hand of God, the glory of God, the saving, the healing, the deliverance, and what Jesus wants us to do far outweighs the cost. And so I would just say to anyone, may the Spirit of God move you to be someone like in Isaiah 6 when he says, "Here am I, Lord, send me." That soul winning is the core of it all. If you're going out to win souls, go to the streets in your city. Go downtown and go to the streets and go to the areas. You're going to eventually find an SRA MPD. You're going to eventually, hear about, them talking, and it takes time. You're going to hear about the coven, where the ritual was, where this is over here, where that is over there, and it will be found out. You will engage.
Wow, very interesting and frightening that so many. You said it best. If you find one victim in your city, there's bound to be many more. And I believe that is very true, as we know already that sexual abuse cases are widely underreported. Also, there seems to be a bias in the FBI and the governmental authorities that investigate these matters, that they believe that satanic rituals are not the true purpose behind some of the murders that take place. Their stats on that are very underplayed. But we see that there is an increase in these activities, and and I saw a story today out of Florida. They've banned prayer and Bibles from the school. Well, the city council has voted to allow satanic literature to be handed out in schools in Florida, promoting a diversity of religion, and it is no longer hidden in the shadows. It is being brought out to the light. Not only that, it is almost becoming acceptable in our society. In this country we live in, as we see the Supreme Court's decision on homosexual marriage coming up and a few other important decisions, how much longer can this country, how much longer will God let this country continue in promoting these perversions that were judged harshly in the Old Testament?
Man, agreed. Barring the grace of God, agreed. I mean, the wrath of God is going to fall. There's no question. The only thing, holding back, 2 Peter chapter 3 in this, in the reference to biblical prophecy, God is not willing that anybody perish. That He would rather see everyone come to repentance. So, the only reason for the withholding of the hammer coming down, in a sense, the wrath of God coming down, is the operating grace and saving of souls. So God still wants people saved. Now, I will say this. Let's go back to 2 Thessalonians 2 again, when we read in the context of the parousia, the coming of the Lord, and that day will not occur until what occurs? Two things: apostasia and the apocalypse of Anthropos, the Anthropos Anamos. I mean, he's called the man of lawlessness or sin, and so two things are going to occur before the parousia. This apostasia. Now, again, in my historical biblical Greek, Koine Greek look at that. That was primarily used in reference to massive events, a coup, a radical revolt, a rebellion. It's used in the book of Acts. It's also used in the Greek Septuagint of the Old Testament. When Moses came down from the mountain, the people rebelled and went back to the calf worship. So this term is not just about Christians slipping away. It's about an event that the parousia won't occur until, it's very emphatic in the original, until those two things occur. Now, in the context of that, then there's the mysterium. It's an operating, presence between the demons and humans, operative in the world in a very synchronized, organized, detailed way, more than military systems. They're more powerful, more precise. Now, with that, look what it says. Satan is the one behind the development of the Antichrist. Then there is Satan is at work with all kinds of counterfeit signs, wonders, miracles. Now notice what else it says. The Spirit of God says, and in every sort of evil. The word in reference there is moral, decadent, radically moral evil. So, Joe, the rise of it's not just the homosexuals that are coming. It's NAMBLA that is coming. It is the it's also the necromancy. Listen, on the heels of the gay lesbian movement is NAMBLA, sex with children. On the heels of that, the necromantic ritual book put out, sex with the dead. It's unbelievably on the rise. And there's books written on that subject. And here's what the cry is in those books in the area of sex with the dead. The participants and the leaders and those who are writing in it, they think it's sacred. They think it's a holy thing. They think it's a loving thing. They think that they should have legal rights. They think they should have constitutional rights. They think they should have the rights to do that. So you're going to find that there's going to be lobbying for necrophilia. There's lobbying for bestiality. There's lobbying for pedophilia. Even the goal to change the global psychological, disposition towards it, as they did with gay and lesbianism, 40 years ago. To change the psychological disposition and to water it down and to alter it. So we're going to see the three big things in the end of days. Sexual decadence to the point of aggressive, addictive, uncontrollable sexual decadence is going to be predominant. If people are American that are worried about the gays and lesbians coming out of the closet all over the place, and the untold story, Joe and Doug, is the thousands that have left that lifestyle, the thousands that have gotten saved, the thousands that say that lifestyle is no good, doesn't work, it's wrong, they're glad to be free from it. But the sad thing is that because of their promotion of it, you've got now 8-year-olds saying they're gay. How do they know that? How do they even know anything about sex? How does an 8-year-old really understand that and know that? What is the perimeters for knowing that? But you've got now pedophilia issues that they're lobbying for the rights and claiming that their civil rights are not being met. But I'm telling you right now, necrophilia, bestiality, necrophilia is going to be big, and the promotion of it's going to be big, that they have the right. So sexual decadence is inseparably linked to demonic presence, as in tantra sex, sex magic with Crowley, the 7 churches in the book of Revelation. Jezebel, remember, her occult teaching led the believers into sexual decadence. Demonic manifestation and occult teaching always connects sexual decadence. Here's why. Here's what the Satanists themselves told me. Because they know that corrupted sexuality dirties the conscience, weakens the conscience, and opens the way to demonization.
Wow.
Judgment will fall. I pray that many get saved prior, but there's no question, payday someday.
Okay. Powerful. Joe, go ahead. You were going to say something.
Yeah, you mentioned that this increase in the necrophilia.
Yeah.
And it's not something that's comfortable to talk about. Can you explain what kind of powers do they believe that they can derive from this, or what purpose this serves?
Sure. Well, everybody kind of remembers the national story. 2 girls from Wisconsin lure a boy up from Texas offering sexual favors. They go to tie him up a little bit. They say they're going to tie him up in a sexual orgy and whatever else, and they're going to give him sex. But the goal was ultimately to stab him, to cut, bleed him and kill him and have sex with his body. They read and again, I'm not asking anybody to read it. I have read it, but